Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks, and welcome to another fun filled and action packed episode of the Snowstorm podcast. Unbelievably so, I have to do another one of these for April 2nd, 2018. I'm meteorologist DT from weatherist.com, the commander of chaos, the captain of confusion, the colonel of catastrophe. We have yet more possible winter weather in the winter, which doesn't really seem to want to actually leave the room. So let's get started. First, we're going to take a look at the event that happened early on this Monday morning in the Northeast, and you can see this was the actual snowfall forecast, and this was the actual snow that fell. And you can see that pretty good. There were pretty good snow amounts here, and this matched very closely my forecast from here. You can see that orange and white area here, 6 to 8 inches. I had the 6 inch band like this. You can see the red, and but in this dark blue stuff, this was 4 to 6 in here. Some isolated 6 inch bands in there. So did pretty good forecast with that, I think. And if you look at the actual snowfall amounts here, we can see there are some places here in Pennsylvania, 9 inches here. Our Parsippany had 7 inches. Interior northern New Jersey, Basking Ridge 6.9, Sparta 6.5 there. Mount Pocono 6 inches. Rutherford, New Jersey 6.1. Bridgeport 6 inches, and again, that's pretty close here. I had the Bridgeport in the 4 to 6 inch there, so that worked out nicely. In Ohio, you can see Bellefonte at 3.8, and Mansfield had 3.1, so that worked out. Williamsport 4.6, and you can see I had Ohio in the 2 to 4 inch band. You can see here there's a 2 inch line, and then we have the 4 to 6 inch line there as well. So you can clearly see that Ohio did pretty good in that area as well. Um, if we go back, we can continue to see other areas. Um, let's see here. Rhode Island 4.5 inches, Butler 4 inches there, Allentown at 3.9. That worked out pretty well. Um, and then if we got towards Philadelphia at all, if we saw the snow amounts there, not very impressive. A lot of mixing there in Philly. All the snow is to the north and west, which is what I thought it would be. And that closely matches the Trenton, New Jersey, at zero point 0.8 inches, so just about an inch there. So overall, it worked out pretty well. So I like the forecast. All right, this gives us the snow total as of March 25th. So this does not include the event yesterday. And one thing you can stand out here, and I'm sure people in Virginia will tell you this, in Northern Virginia, D.C. area, you can see the huge snow hole right here. The blue is, 2 to 6 inch snows there, or 6 to 12 total for the season. This is for the season. If you look at Richmond, we're 12 to 24, which is about right. And then Hampton, portions of Hampton Roads, they had good snow in here in Southwest Virginia. But you can see the Shenandoah Valley, much of the Virginia Piedmont, D.C., Baltimore, not great snows so far. There's clearly a snow hole there, very obvious to discern and see. All right, let's talk about April 7th and 8th and what a pain in the ass this sucker is going to turn out to be. This is the overall pattern here. This is the European ensemble, and we can see a couple of features here. This is Monday afternoon's run, so this is valid for the morning of April 7th. And the short wave that we're focused on is right in here, and there's another piece in this area. So here's our ridge on the west coast, and notice that the trough, which earlier looked like was going to come in, is staying out here. So that means you have a bit more of a ridge, and that supplies more cold air. So there's our polar vortex right here, but we have a lot of cold air coming in, and we'll see how impressive this cold air is in just a minute. So we can look at the vorticity. Now this is the operational European, and again, first thing to notice is that this piece of energy, which earlier looked like was going to be in the Rockies, is now back here. So we do have a ridge on the west coast. So that means we have cold air coming down this way, feeding into the Midwest, which eventually reaches the East Coast. And we have a disturbance right here. You can see right in this area. That's the piece of energy which causes the low pressure to form somewhere over the Carolina coast. Now, this is the GFS. It's got the same sort of thing. Nice ridge here. You can see it very clearly. There's our ridge. Oops, call it the right marker here. And we can see a flow coming out of Canada, and there's a piece of energy in there. You can clearly see this some sort of shortwave disturbance in the flow right here, and would generate low pressure of some type all along the lower middle Atlantic coast. This next one, I believe, is probably the Canadian. No, this is GFS 135 hours. And what the GFS is doing is we can see a bit of a phase here with the jet streams. I talked about this earlier. Loves the phase, the stream. So there's one piece of energy here and here. We're getting some sort of merging of these two pieces of energy. Meanwhile, the west coast trough is pushing into the Rockies, but now we already have the low on the coast, so it's going to be doing its thing at that point on Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Now, to show you how the cold air makes an impact here, and this is what's really important. Now, this is the European model. These are the 850 temperatures. Now, essentially, what we need here, let me call it my marker, is for snow, okay, you need the 850 temperatures. This is 1 mile above the ground. 1 mile up, okay? So this is the 850 millibar temperature. So for snow, you need 0 degrees centigrade or colder. So you can look through the lines. You can see this is the 0 line right up through here. And this whole area, you can see it, 0 line. So this is all this is all way too warm. So Richmond, for example, is +6, Roanoke +5, and West Virginia +3, DC is +5, Lexington, Kentucky +4, Nashville +6, Raleigh +6. So these are temperatures way up in the 50s and the 60s with sunshine for this time of year. But look at the severely cold air coming out. This is April, -23. If this was winter, if this was January, February, this would be 20 below zero in Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's how cold this stuff is. So this is the front valid on Friday. All right, that's Friday morning. Now this, look what happens. This is Friday night. Look at the change from this to this. Friday morning, Friday afternoon. Now Richmond is still, as you can see, +5, +6, +7. But DC is already turning significantly colder. Roanoke down to -3, -1. Northern Kentucky is down below like -6. You can see this cold air plunging southward. -15, 850 in Ohio. Again, this would be near 0 if this was the middle of winter. Some reading temperatures very, very cold. St. Louis -7, Chicago -14. So, and the front is now down through here. This is Friday at 8 p.m. Okay, good. Now let's take a look at those temperatures. What does that mean at the surface? Okay, so this is Friday afternoon, 8 p.m. Look at the temperature at Richmond. 60 degrees. It can't snow the next day. 60 degrees, right? Look at Raleigh, 69 degrees. Yeah. Hampton Roads, mid-60s. DC, around 50. Now the front, as you can see, the front is clearly through here. And look at these temperatures already dropping. The 20s? Are you kidding me? On Friday afternoon and evening in Ohio, the 20s, Pittsburgh, 25, 26 degrees. Are you kidding me? No, we're not kidding you. That's how impressive this stuff is. Now, this is the 850 temperature Saturday morning. Let's look for the front, where the 0 line is, okay? So clearly, Norfolk is there. It's down to Raleigh. You can see the 0 lines like this, and like this. That's approximation. So Richmond is now -6, DC is -9, Roanoke's -7, Raleigh is 0, Norfolk is -3, -4, Philly is -9, Pittsburgh is -11, Lexington's -6. All these are cold enough to support snow. They are cold enough to support snow. Now, how far the precipit's going to get is a different matter. And sure enough, this is Saturday morning. Richmond's 30 degrees. That's snow if we get precipitation. Raleigh, 34 degrees. That's mixed or wet snow, may not stick. Greensboro, 30 degrees. In case you don't know what Greensboro is, right there, 30 degrees. Richmond, 30 degrees. DC, 29 degrees. Charlottesville, 29 degrees. Hampton Roads, 35 degrees. Roanoke, Lynchburg, 27 degrees. That's cold stuff. Cold stuff Saturday morning at 8 a.m. That's cold enough for snow. So if the model data is correct, the cold air gets in here Saturday morning. There's no doubt about that. Now this is Saturday evening, 8 p.m. Richmond again has stayed below 0, 850s all day, -4, -5. That's cold enough to support all snow. DC -6, Hampton Roads -1, Roanoke, Lynchburg -4, Charlottesville -5, -6. There you go. And again, we can clearly see our rain snow line. The 0 line is running something like this. Now, if we go out and further in time, what does this look like? Now, this here was how the thing looked for early Friday morning. So this was a 0Z run on Friday. 0Z on Friday. And you can see the big snows here. Now, this is Friday. This is a Saturday, 2 p.m. on the European model. This is Saturday. The snow gets up to Richmond, but most of it's down here, northwest North Carolina and southwest Virginia. Then it hangs down in this area on by Saturday morning. That's what it was doing. And now the afternoon run is a little different. It's got the snow a little further north and more snow over eastern North Carolina and southeast Virginia. So I don't know if that's a trend or not, but in terms of what the snow mountains look like, let me clear this out. We can see this. And again, this is early morning on Friday, so we're doing the 0Z Friday run. Look at the huge snow amounts as of North Carolina. 12 inches, 13 inches for Raleigh. Can you believe that? No, that's bullshit. And the reason why it's bullshit is because it uses the enhanced algorithm. So all this mixed precipitation is seen as all snow. This one from EuroWeather does not have that problem. And you can see a decent snow for early April. Don't get me wrong. But, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of snow, not 13 or 14 inches. So that's why you have to use the right European model here, because some of these sites are just full of crap. And this is the afternoon run. This is the 12Z run of the European. Notice, no longer 13 inches in here. Coming back to normal. And you get the snow a little closer to Richmond and Norfolk. And again, this model showing widespread 2 to 6 inch snows. Now this is another system totally different. But there you go. So that's a total snowfall. And you can clearly see what this European model is doing, which makes much more sense. So we definitely prefer this one over the other ones. This is the European ensemble. There's that low moving off the Hatteras coast. That's a great track. If this was January, February, early March, this would be a big snowstorm for this area. That's a really nice looking track for low pressure moving off the coast. The European ensembles, pretty darn bullish. The European ensembles, 3 inches in Richmond, 2 inches in DC, 2 inches close to Raleigh, 3 inches, 4 inches in southwest Virginia. Very possible with these cold temperatures. Now the GFS, this was the 18Z GFS a little further north. As you can see, he's got the wave going up through here over Roanoke, southwest Virginia, and then off the Delmarva. So the rain snow line is over DC. So that's a possibility. It could come north a little bit. I can't rule that out. It's a possibility. But we can see the difference in the snowfall. This is the GFS from this morning. You can see the snows over the southern half of Virginia, from southwest Virginia, Tri-Cities and Whitefield and Roanoke up to Richmond and Petersburg, Farmville, Lynchburg, over to the Middle Peninsula and Northern Neck. But after the 18Z run, which is this one here, has it a little further north. So, and you can see, there you go. So that's a possibility. I can't rule it out. So at this point, we're just going to have to wait and see. The atmosphere is clearly going to be cold enough with this strong Arctic air coming in on Friday. Do not be fooled by the warm temperatures on Friday over the Virginia, North Carolina area. Now, it's possible that the front may hang up. A lot of times when you get later into the season, these strong cold fronts do stay further north. They don't quite come as far south as the models show. If that happens, this would be a Northern Virginia, DC, Baltimore, Southern Pennsylvania, New Jersey type of snowstorm. Western Maryland, Ohio, just kind of similar to what we had before, perhaps a little further south than that, but it would be that sort of event. So we'll just have to play by ear. We'll see what the data looks like on Tuesday, and everybody take a breath and see what happens. This is meteorologist DT from weatherist.com. I'll talk to you soon. See you on the Facebook page and on the Twitter page.